Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show.
Okay, I'm gonna get going. Hey guys, welcome to episode 108 of That Scale RC Show. I'm one of your hosts, Travis, along with Adam and Jay. And welcome back from another month-long or so break. Actually, it hasn't been that long since the last upload. So for us, it's been much longer. But yeah, we're back. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing?
Finally crawling back out from underneath the rock.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah. What's up? I mean, quite a bit has happened since the last time we recorded.
Lots has happened. Yep. Yeah, I mean, is there anything we wanted to jump into immediately? Because I know we've got a bunch of new releases. We can kind of get hammering on, or otherwise just anything that happened with you guys over the time since our last show.
Well, we hadn't talked about Adam going to the ASD event, had we?
No, we have not.
Man, are you
Maybe
like
we should kick off with that?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you like in my head? Because I was just about to say ASD was not that long ago. But yeah, no, the ASD 6th annual, I think. I think it's the 6th annual.
And annual.
Yeah. Autism Awareness Crawl was at Crawl for a Cure's old stomping grounds at Bear River Lake Resort in Pioneer, California. Went and did that for the day and had a good time. They brought a couple new events there. So a couple guys from the SoCal area came up, and one of them has they brought some of the other elements into it. So they were doing sand drag. Well, I guess you can say they were dirt drags, not sand drags, but dirt drags. So you were, 2 lanes, and whether it was a slash, whatever basher you had, scale rig, they were just lining them up and drag racing through the dirt. So that was kind of cool. The trails were awesome. Same old terrain, good old Sierra mountains / foothills. So you got a lot of rock, redwood tree coverage, dirt, and it's by a lake. So a lot of nice natural formations. Yeah, I want to say there was 300, if not more, people there. So it was a good turnout. And it was nice because now that they've moved from, where were they before? Frank Rains, you're not out in the blistering heat for 9 hours. Now you're in the mountains. So in the morning, wearing a hoodie, I actually wore jeans all day. And yeah, I got to maybe 70-ish, 72 at the highest. And then right after 3 o'clock, it starts peaking again, and time to put your hoodie back on, and it starts getting cold.
Nice.
So
probably a nice little break for you.
Oh yeah, it was nice. It was definitely nice to get out of the heat. Everybody that went all said the same stuff. It was nice to get out of the smoke, because during that time, there was there was a couple fires in California. There was the Forest Hill fire. There was one in Grass Valley, but that one was short-lived. It was like a 3 or 4 hour fire. And then there was another fire up by the Reno area, because I know the guys coming from Nevada were like, "Oh, it's so nice to get out of the smoke." So yeah, it was good times. And the SCX6 took some carnage. So, oh yeah.
Broke it?
Well, not the rig, the body. I don't know if I've ever told you guys, or I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on this show, but So that's a hard body. And one, it's old. Two, I think whoever owned it when it was a toy car left it either A, in a room that was in the sun a lot, or B, left it outside in the sun a lot, because the plastic is super brittle. So the first casualty it ever took was when Elio was modifying the rig. The body had fallen off his lap, and he was like, so maybe like a 3-foot drop to the ground. Ooh. And it cracked from the B pillar or the A pillar all the way to the back window. And he was like, I've never seen a body do that before. It was almost like it was like dropping a piece of glass. Like it just cracked and then fell apart. Like he's like, I've never seen anything like that before. So he shoe-gooed it all back together. When I got it, I knew, like, with that problem, I went ahead and coated a lot of the flat surfaces with shoe goo, like the roof, the fenders, the hood, the tailgate, the doors. I did shoe goo and that fiber mesh drywall repair tape stuff. Mm-hmm. And said, okay, that should kind of hold everything together. Well, I didn't think about like the A-pillar and all that stuff in between the doors. I just was trying to get, like, you know, the parts that I know for sure you would like lay up against rocks and you didn't want it to shatter. Well, I was following his SCX6 through buggy lines, and I kind of rolled, like, I guess you can say rolled over, or the tires kind of slid down and fell into a V crack. So it went right on the door, right at the side mirror. And at first I thought, okay, I'm just going to run it against there, get a couple scratches, no big deal. Well, kept going. And all of a sudden, one of the guys that was watching us was like, uh-oh. And I was like, what? And they're like, we see a mirror on the ground. And I'm like, oh, okay, I knocked the mirror off, you know, big deal. I can put it back on. And then I looked and I'm like, there's still body panel attached to that mirror. So as soon as I pulled it up, I'll send you guys a picture. As soon as I picked it up, the whole A pillar was gone.
Oh, sad.
Yeah. So
you gonna like repair it with CA glue and then just sand it, or?
That's what I already did. And then what I think I'm going to do, which will also kind of add a little bit more to the scale, I guess, realism of it. I think what I'm going to do is order some Delrin, like 3/8-ish or quarter tube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it, and I think I'm going to glue it together and then put shoe goo it to the body to kind of give it like it has a cage, but it's also going to actually help hold the body together. It's just because, one, it's so hard. Well, it's not really hard to find one of those bodies right now. It's just, I don't have, like, I just can't bring myself to spending $150 on shipping. It's just like, I just can't get over it.
Ouch.
Oh, go on eBay right now. There's two of them. One's a full car. One is just the body. And they want like $125 for the body, which is totally a fair price for one of those. But then you look under shipping and it's like $150, and you're like, are you serious? Like, I just can't do it. So
it's a lot. I mean, the last big thing I shipped was to the east coast of Canada, and it was the Phoenix body, and it was $45-50 for like UPS ground.
Yeah.
And that's, pretty small.
Yeah. So shipping's expensive. So I just, I just don't really want to, spend that. So I'm just going to patch it back together, probably do a little sanding and then repaint it, and it'll probably be pretty good. And I'll probably just keep running it. But I just sent it in our group chat so you could see how bad it looks.
My phone's sucking.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that.
So like I said, luckily I found all the pieces. So, I was able to glue it all, patch it back together. But yeah, that was kind of like one of those, it's like I knew it was going to happen. And unfortunately, it actually makes me drive worse, because I just know in the back of my head, I don't want this thing to explode as I'm like driving it. So it's like I try to like drive over obstacles and or do lines that I know it's going to conquer. So the fact that I was pushing it was definitely my fault, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
I mean, that's not exactly like something you would expect to happen.
No, not at all.
That's gnarly. I wish there was a way that we could like share photos more with podcast stuff. I mean, unless you do it like live, there's really no way to do any of this. But
what I think I'm going to do is maybe, once we know, like what I need to do is just remember, like once we air this one, just post the photo up to the page so people could go look at it.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool if like we put pictures that we had that kind of correlated with the episode and stuff in the comments underneath when we post that it's up and going. That might be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think that's what I'll do. But yeah, so that was that. But like I said, otherwise, fun event. It's always good seeing people that you haven't seen in a while. So just nice to get out and, hit some trails. So all in all, good time.
Nice.
Which actually almost kind of leads me into a other little thing that's been going on. We had a listener, Spencer, who I had paint my Chevy. I keep calling it a K20. I think it's a K10, but that's because I'm like a 3/4 ton person. So I'll keep calling it a K20. My Proline K20 crawler body. I sent it to him, said, do not, don't show me any pictures. Do not give me any like teasers, whatever. Here's my logo. Here's the color scheme. Have at it. And it turned out amazing. Like,
yeah,
I was stoked.
So good.
And it was well worth it. Cause I'll be honest. I want to say, actually, here, I'll be 100% transparent. Okay, let me pull up his text. I don't want to give the wrong information about how much I paid, but I do know he tried to give me a little bit of a deal, but I still, I can't, take advantage of people. That's just not in my nature. So I made sure to send him a tip so that way it covered some of his materials, because he was trying to like give it to me just for the work, not so much, the cost of materials, but that wasn't fair. So just trying to scroll back to. So he gave me a total with shipping back to my house at $235. So I sent him $250.
That's worth it though.
But it was well worth it. The only thing I feel bad about is the fact that it literally showed up the day I was leaving for the ASD Crawl. So I wasn't able to mount it, and I've been so busy with work and everything that's going on. I just haven't been able to dedicate the time to mount it. And I know I'm going to go with Velcro just because I don't want to put any holes through the body. So I just got to finish, laying it out and making my mounts so I can Velcro it down. And then I think I'm going to drop it off at my buddy Nick's house just because he can do brazing, and I'm probably going to have him braze up some bumpers and sliders, and then it'll be ready to hit the trail.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I'm completely stoked. So if anybody else is listening and is interested in getting, custom painted body, definitely talk to Spencer. And the other thing too, I've seen people do bodies with airbrush. He does all this with rattle can, and it comes out like the same quality as somebody airbrushing it. It blows my mind.
That's awesome.
So
yeah, he is a talented guy.
But what I what I was getting at was because I had posted it before I hit the road, there were at least 10 to 15 people that asked where that truck was because I didn't have it out on the trip.
Yeah.
They were like, they're like, we were expecting to see the new rig. And I was like, I just didn't have time. I couldn't mount it. I said, I can't skimp out now. I'm this invested in it. I have to get it to where I'm happy with it. Then I'll use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm already stoked with how everything's, working out with that. From switching over to the Rock Pirates RC towers. It's definitely turning into more of a performance rig, which is kind of what I was gearing that towards anyways. So yeah.
I don't know why I thought that it was going on the Betty rig. I wasn't thinking.
Betty rig.
Yeah, Betty rig. The Betty body.
Oh, no.
I thought it was going on that one for some reason.
No. That one's another one that's pretty much ready to roll. It's
You haven't driven that yet?
Not really. I drove it through the rocks in the front yard. That's about it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, but no, that's another one. That thing works pretty well too. The portals with the another one. So that's my second rig that's got the Rock Pirates RC towers on it. But yep, and that one's like, it's kind of like what's the word, like a hybrid. I guess it is. It's like a hybrid. I'm trying to keep it like close to that original what the Betty looked like, but I still want it to kind of like work.
Right.
So, but yep. So that's actually about it that I have that's going on. What about you guys?
Trap?
Not much. I mean, I think it was out last time, but EPX is out, so that's been awesome. Beyond that, not a whole lot has been all that eventful. I think same thing. We've just been heads down on work. I have October baseball I'm watching for a change, so that's exciting. Other than that, not much. Just been plowing away. But
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I do got to say, from watching I've watched like half of the hour-long video that Rock Pirates RC put up on YouTube. Your guys' logo is on a handful of rigs that were just down at Proline by the Fire.
Really?
Oh, really?
I haven't seen the video.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that video is a little long in the tooth, but I watched about half of it. And yeah, there's a couple rigs on a couple different tables, and when they scroll through, you can see the S, the newer S logo on the rig.
Rad.
So
that's cool.
Yep.
Huh. Thanks,
Right
Rock
on.
Pirates.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose rigs they were, so I don't know. I mean, if I probably go back and get some pictures, maybe you like follow them on Instagram or something. But
There was a time where we could like keep all that straight, and then now it's just changed to you're just like surprised, like, oh look, like it's before it was like you remembered that sale or whatever, and you would see it on social media, somebody posting, it or something, and then now it's like things have changed so much that it's like always this like surprise when you see your logo popping up and stuff, since it is kind of unexpected.
It is cool.
Have a much broader customer base now, so we still try and keep it as personal as we can. It's just a lot of people to keep track of now.
It is fun to just see it randomly, though.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that. So I don't know. I've just been working and building stuff, and that's really about it. Got out and drove the Bushido today. That was super fun. I like short wheelbase rigs. They're such a good time. That was a really good one. They did a nice job on that. 11.8 was a good call.
I thought you named it something else.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no, thing worked great. It was a good time. It was beautiful today too. That was nice. I took like 3 rigs and drove that thing all day instead. I didn't drive any of the other ones at all. So I was having a really good time with that. Nice. That's so crazy. I had so many pictures and video and stuff to go through. And so while I was waiting for 7:30 to roll around, I was just going through and like cropping pictures and stuff. And then, trimming the length of videos and stuff. And it's always crazy, like how, you'll have like an entire afternoon, all these tons and tons of pictures, and you're done. And it's like, you can count everything on 2 hands that was like keepable, like that was worth it. So it's kind of funny. But yeah. So I guess go into what else is new since we had that.
Yeah. And then, I did touch on it slightly. None of us were there, but Proline by the Fire was just this last weekend.
Oh, yep. That's right.
So, and, definitely going to keep this short and sweet, but it's like, it's crazy to see so many positive pictures and posts and people having a good time. And then you get like one person that has to go on a rant and rave about how horrible it was and this, that, and the other, and how they should have done it better and should have done this and should have done that. And it's like, all I can say is if you don't like something that's going on, host your own. But I noticed none of these people that ever complain about anything ever host their own events. It's like,
it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
I did it for years. It's a lot of work, and it's really thankless. And I don't know. I mean, if people want to complain about Proline by the Fire, I can definitely top whatever your grievances are about that, because I've been to some stinker events in the past, and I guarantee that Proline by the Fire was definitely better than those were. So be grateful.
Yeah, just be grateful. I mean, we already got enough negativity in the hobby and in the world. You don't need to be, bringing it to, an event that somebody's putting on for a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that being said,
new stuff.
Yeah. SCX6 is actually out now. That honcho. So I think the last time we talked about it wasn't quite released yet, and that it was just leaks. I think the episode release date may have bled over that, but yes, that's out. So that was real. And then the SCX10 Proline collab, whatever they're going to call it. Just the Proline K10 body collaboration thing was announced pretty recently, only within the last couple days.
40th anniversary Chevy stepside with Proline's hybrid aluminum wheels, 4.19 high racks, and they're only making 1,982 of them, which is relevant why.
That's the year Proline was founded.
There you go.
40th anniversary.
Yep.
Et cetera, et cetera.
So, yeah. So anyways, they came out with that. Like I was saying, Element Bushido, if you hadn't heard about that one, unlicensed Samurai 11.8 inch wheelbase with 4.65 inch tires, RTR 399. And then we've got, what else came out? The straight axle Vanquish Phoenix. I don't think we had that one last time.
No, we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We had that, and then to kind of go hand in hand with that, Vanquish has their, gosh, I'm going to butcher the name. I thought it was it's not F10. Is it F10? F10 straight axles? Either way, they look like Toyota axles. And so, they look really cool. They have a new aluminum axle. And
they also have new tires.
Yeah, I was going to say, yep. That new Falcon Wild Peak looks really good. It's a 4.65.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like I said, I only have one complaint, and that's the fact that it's a tire tread that has been done now. This will be the third company that's doing that tire tread. It's kind of like that. It reminds me of the Swamper TSLs that, like everybody did.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know. I just like to see some of these companies do something that hasn't been done before. But I'm sure if it's anything like their new, so they came out with a new compound for their actual tire, and I heard that one worked really well. So I can only imagine how well this is going to work if they're using the same compound.
Yeah, this is the red compound, I believe. Does that sound right?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm trying to recall just when I saw it on Instagram earlier. The 4.65 stuck with me, though. I did remember that.
So one thing, so kind of coming back to, I wanted to go back to that VS410 a bit. So I didn't know this. But and correct me if I'm referring to the wrong one or if I've got this wrong, but the VS410 Phoenix, the straight axle one, that's the one that just came out, the read said, right?
Yeah.
And so that is $389.
Yeah.
That is a really, really good price.
Smoking good deal.
Yeah. I had myself questioning for it for a minute just because some of the pictures I was like looking at, but then I was looking at all the options and stuff. I was like, wait a minute, this is, I'm on the right listing.
Oh, wow. Speaking of which, that just reminded me. So, ironically, in a group that I'm a part of that, rarely ever posts anything about RC. It's more about other stuff. They do know there's a lot of RC guys
like furries. Is that the group?
No, we post a lot of memes.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a big meme group. But anyways, Horizon Hobbies is doing a sale, and it's a huge, a really nice sale on the
you just said a really nice sale.
It is. Hey,
sorry. A huge sale, a really nice sale.
I didn't say it like that, but okay.
Sorry. God damn, that was a nice sale.
The Raw Builders Kit V2 and the Capra kit, the Unlimited kit, both are on sale right now. I'm clicking on the link again so I can make sure. Maybe I'll post this up on our page so if anyone wants to take advantage. Use the code KICKOFF. Normally $369, on sale for $258.99.
Damn.
Jeez.
So
that's really
about $100 off.
Wow. That's a
deal. That is pretty good.
And then the Raw Builders Kit, I'm just going to click on that link.
Did you say it's so V2? Is that what I heard you say?
Yep. It said Raw Builders Kit V2.
Really?
And it's originally $239, on sale for $179.99 with the code KICKOFF. Ends October 17th.
Crazy.
So those are two good deals. So my guess is
that's like no Black more Friday deals.
Yeah, but I'm guessing there's no more kits, so I'm sure they're trying to squeeze those out, and then that's it.
Really?
That'd be my guess.
That makes me sad. I hope they don't do that.
I could be wrong, but I'm just wondering why they're doing such a big sale on kits.
I have heard that, Axial plans on kind of doing away with them altogether.
Weird.
My guess is sales must have reflected that they're just not doing that well.
Yeah.
So sad, but if at the end of the day, it's all about the almighty dollar, and if they're putting in their dollars to try and get you to buy something that you're not going to buy,
yeah,
it's not very smart financially. So I mean, you kind of can't blame them, but at the same time, it's just one of those sad realities because a lot of people just, they're not into building their own cars. They'd rather buy something that's ready to run than, build as it goes. So just the art of building, from the ground up and, making it all something just going out the window.
We'll move, Cotton.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there is something to be said that, like, I think the ground up builder market is probably smaller than we're giving it credit for. And if this is what is happening, then I guess that's reflective of that. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but there's definitely an accessibility question, right? Like, not a lot of people out of the gate are going to start off with the builder's kit.
I'm really surprised that the SMT10 and the Rift aren't 25 off too right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I had heard rumors of the Rift kit being discontinued, but maybe not.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know any rhyme or reason to why they're, discounting those two kits. I have no idea. The only reason why I was considering and looking at it, which now this just reminds me, I got to talk to Michelle about it. Her dad really likes my Capra just because it's, it's performance based. It's got portals. I put the 4-wheel steer on it. It's just something you could take almost anywhere and, drive it and you're not worried about knocking all your scale accessories off. So I was thinking about getting him one for his birthday / Christmas because they're only 3 days apart. So that kind of sparked that whole idea again, since it's, a good deal.
That puts their JLU kit at $260, $249. That's pretty darn good.
So the JLU kit's also on. Same thing. Code kickoff.
Yeah. I put it in my cart really quick to try it. That's wild about that VS410 straight axle kit being $389.
I know.
That's a smoking good deal.
This is something to kind of look at. This is indicative of the future because Vanquish was always sort of that like beyond tier, right? Where it just was a different price bracket for obvious reasons. Definitely don't need to explain that to anybody. But if they're starting to creep down into like the range of conventional accessibility, that's going to be very interesting for the rest of the scale market.
I'm just going to start referring to Vanquish as the ringer.
A little bit, because that's a pretty insane price.
It's $10 cheaper than the Bushido.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, but it's like, a couple years ago. I mean, this is what?
Yeah,
$700, like,
yeah. Back in the day, that's what people, $1,000 worth of Vanquish stuff, and then it's slowly like, well, I bought $1,000 Vanquish kit.
Yeah, like
I have a $600 Vanquish kit. Now I got a $390, so more people bragging about it.
Deferring a mortgage payment for one back in the day, and now it's like,
right,
not a big deal. So
no, that's cool, and they're bringing stuff that's like kind of fresh too. I mean, their Toyota axle looks really good. Yeah, RC 4-wheel drive had their Yoda axle, first, but this one will probably hold up.
Yeah,
but no, I think it's cool. It makes things. I don't know. Competition is good. It breeds creativity, and you start seeing different bodies, better rigs, stuff like that. So
I agree. I think this will end up being. I think that I'm following releases for this. There's probably just going to be more that are just kind of like, kicks in the ass for the market.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Oh my god, dude! That G-made Buffalo that looks like the square body Chevy Blazer, $534.
Whoa.
Ouch.
That is expensive, man.
Wow, that is expensive. Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, Elements got their 124th ecto. And as of yesterday, they were sold out of them already on their site.
Nice.
Looks like A-Main still has them, but yeah, I mean that they're going to have trouble keeping those clear bodies in stock too. Everybody's going to want to buy those, like even Axial guys, I have a feeling.
Yeah.
Just because the whole like 124th comp thing that's going on now, and everybody's super, super into 124th. So I'm sure that'll be a really popular body. Yeah, no, they're still out of stock, expected late October. So their first shipment's gone already. Which this was added when, how long did that take? September 26th. So a couple weeks and they were sold out of them already.
We didn't spend much time talking about that the Proline SCX 10, did we?
Not much. We kind of just
glossed over it.
Moto. Just, yeah.
We should go over that one real quick because I don't want to miss this one. Because this one, so obviously all the details were earlier. What we didn't mention was the price, which was $599.99 for this.
Oh.
And, we talked about the, technically limited run and stuff like that. Granted, it's like, nearly 2,000. But this one is interesting. I think my gut feeling on it was that I do think it is really cool. I think that the weird thing about this one for me is that this is like the kind of release that me wearing the tinfoil hat at the time that Proline was acquired was like, this is what every Axial release is going to be now.
I don't know if it's going to be every single one of them, but
that's what I was saying at the beginning, because it was because there was kind of a point where I was like, well, I mean, in a way, why wouldn't you do this?
Yeah, I think we had talked about that way back in the day.
Yeah, it's been a couple years now, right? But I'm surprised. Yeah. So I get the reason I bring this up is I'm surprised it took so long. Now, granted, I know 40th anniversary, things like that, so I there's some milestone and stuff behind it. But no, I mean, it is cool. It is a cool body. It looks like it's all, kind of all done up new and everything. The bumpers and stuff are cool. So like the detail is all there, which is cool. I'm a little bit conflicted on the price. But I do also know that had like the Proline shocks on it. And some stuff like that. So there is a little bit more than your usual, obviously, in terms of the straight value, but
yeah, I think a lot of people buy it for the body because
I think so too.
Why they put portals on a rig like this when they have their own straight axles? Like, come on, guys.
That was the thing too. I was kind of shocked about.
They're marketing it towards like the noob guy, like it's got to have portals, it's got to have high racks, blah, 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 performance, it's like they're trying to market it to those people. Like they release a super scale body with like folding mirrors and awesome molded plastic details and stuff. And then they throw portals under it and high racks on it so that hopefully they can sell all of them.
I don't know if I agree though, because in a way, yeah, but I don't know if I wholly agree because I think the new person doesn't give a rat's ass about the 40th anniversary thing or Proline or anything like that.
Yeah,
right?
They wouldn't.
So I think maybe on that front, but that was like the one when I was looking just through the reaction, that was the one like common complaint that was very frequent. That was the only thing really anybody had anything to say about it, which was just why the portals? Because I feel, and I know those straight axle conversions are relatively expensive just because it does actually kind of come with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but they have a factory. They can do whatever they want.
Well, I'm aware of that, but my point is like they probably could have, if they would have done that and it just had come with it and everything else, I mean, that they could have had some leverage on that price window there too.
Yeah.
So it's like right at that point where I'm like, I'm not quite sure if you get quite enough. The thing about it for me, though, I don't think it's bad by any means. I do really like this release. Because like I said, I feel like this is what this was kind of like the power of the brands kind of thing. The thing that now I'm even more confused about, though, is their prior like Elite release that we had talked about.
Oh, the Gladiator.
Yeah, which is still I mean, I granted what that was only 25 or something they made. By the way, they're still in stock. And still,
Are they really?
Yeah, still in stock, and they're still $1,100.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Now I'm like, okay, well, like, yes, you have your 2,000 on these and stuff like that.
They made the same mistake so many people bitched about, though, was the tires. Like, there's so many people that were like, why would you put high racks on a Gladiator that's, and then they go and did the same exact thing. Like, it worked so great the first time. Let's put them on this again.
I didn't see a ton of people complaining about the tires, though. Though I do agree it's
Toyos or BFGs or something. I mean, their brand new Toyos would have looked much better on here.
They definitely don't look as ridiculous or out of place as they did on the other one.
Well, this thing doesn't have 4 inches of fender gap like they did with the Gladiator.
Also a great point.
They just make weird decisions.
Is it the same tire size between the two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, both 4.19 high racks.
The tinfoil hat goes back on. But other than that, no, I do actually like this release quite a bit. I mean,
it looks good. They did. This is kind of nitpicking, but they did a nice job on the mirrors. If you look at the RC 4-wheel drive Blazer, the mirrors are freaking gigantic.
No, and I mean, I think that's a lot of like why I like this is that they really didn't mince on the details that much. And then I guess also too, if I'm looking at, okay, actually, you know what? This really isn't that bad because with the exception of sale price and stuff going on right now, but this is only $50 more than the Bronco right now. This is only, and it's $100 more than the JLU. So, I mean, Bronco straight axles and stuff. So, I guess it's not quite a 1-to-1, but like that, I'm a little bit more confused about the decision to go portals on that now. But,
that's what I was saying, dude. Like they have them. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's a sales thing. I do. I think it's a sales feature.
It very well could be. Yeah.
Everybody wants portals.
Yeah, I just thought that we were far enough along that maybe some of the discourse had subsided, but
no, they made a lot of bad mistakes on this one too.
But yeah, I don't know. So I guess actually the price point is not as big of a leap as maybe I was thinking. That's actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I mean it's what $60, 60 and change more than that G-Mate I was talking about with 534.
Oh well, that G-Mate is. I mean.
I'm sure it's cool. I mean, like their stuff isn't junk, but I mean,
I think
I would pay the extra and get the axial truck though if it was me.
G-Made picked a very strange weight class to punch in. I don't really get what their plan was.
Oh, just throwing the Buffalo in with the SCX10s and everything in that arena.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm looking just looking at this. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's garbage or anything. Like it looks fine, but it looks fine. It looks normal. I don't see why it's $534.
Yeah, it is kind of a lot.
There's nothing that justifies it.
And I think it's got window stickers, doesn't it?
Yeah, not even transparent windows, which I know that's such a nitpicky point at face value, but it again,
Traxxas is still doing it too, though. Like their Chevy High Trail, that thing's got the window stickers also. I don't know. That's just one of my pet peeves, but I'm also an interior guy. So people that just want to drive it, not build stuff and worry about everything and want better performance and less weight. I mean, I get the window stickers for that since you're hiding this big empty cavity inside that thing.
Yeah.
G-Made did a nice job on the body. Yeah, it's a good looking truck.
I think that's where all the money is and all the molded plastic that is everywhere else.
Yeah, fender flares and stuff and a grill guard.
Yeah. Though I still very much maintain I think that is ridiculously expensive for what you're getting.
But yeah, I mean that's Traxxas is $549. This is $534. Dude walks into the hobby shop, he's probably going to buy the Traxxas.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Think about this for a second, you guys. What a scary ass business to be in.
RC? Yeah.
Yeah, committing to a kit. Think about it. I mean, like committing to a kit, like let's say you're GMAID, and you're meeting with, the principals and the design team and everything else. And it's like, hey, we want to compete against the SCX10 and the TRX4 and everything else. What are we going to come up with? Like that's such a huge commitment. Like I was talking to somebody the other day and they explained to me that like from like the start of the process of a new kit to the very end, like as far as like all the legwork, doing photos, the box graphic design, just everything that goes into it. I was told it's 300 days from start to finish that goes into producing one model on the manufacturer side.
Yeah.
Drawing, it's everything.
All right.
Yeah. He said, each box you see is like, that's, 300 days worth of work.
Yeah. And think about too, right? Especially in today's climate, all the things along the way that derail it. I mean, the nature of engineering and product development, things like that, things very rarely happen exactly per plan. That's known.
Yeah.
Well, that's largely known amongst the people who do it. But then when it happens, and if it happens very late in your process, it is extremely painful because of, like you said, all of the time and money and everything, all the commitments you have already made.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of ducks have to be in a row. And,
I mean, it's just,
and sometimes, and, time
and you've got the mold prices and everything else. And, what's crazy too, to think about also is with the current like global political climate, if something happens with China and we somehow our relationship deteriorates with them and there's, sanctions or whatever happens, the RC industry is going to suffer some, I mean, everything will, but people in RC are really going to feel it because their whole hobby could just be put on pause until things get straightened out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about. Right. I mean, just consumerism in America to begin with, but I mean, like, especially RC, since everything's Taiwan or China, I think those are the two. I think the only two countries that this stuff's made in. I don't think any of it's made in Japan except for maybe Kyushu and Tamiya.
Yeah,
that's probably it.
Some stuff's made in the Southeast too, Vietnam, things like that.
Really?
Yeah, those are developing industries. Well,
I mean, I guess you could probably move it all to Korea. Like South Korea would love that.
Maybe. It'd be more expensive. It'd still be more expensive. It'd be a lot more expensive.
A lot of electronics come from South Korea, don't they? Isn't that like a big place for TVs and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, a lot of companies are based there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, their industry strength is pretty good. It's getting a lot better, but obviously, definitely not as cheap as China is.
Yeah, exactly. China's insane.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, just something to think about.
Oh no, yeah, I think that's that's on my mind every day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's it. That would that and internationally recognized Taiwan a lot. That is every day. Yeah, every day is a gift.
Taiwan that's a touchy subject right now.
Mm-hmm. So
China gets mad if we even visit Taiwan.
Get near.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
good point.
Anyways, but yeah, so I mean, that's a big problem. But yeah, no, it's, I mean, to your point, it's a huge amount of commitment. But yeah, a lot of them, obviously work. A good chunk of them don't. So I mean, but also too, it's like being in a position also to sort of justify and pitch what your breakover is. I mean, when it works, it's probably pretty decent.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Is there anything else new release wise? Otherwise, should I jump into questions?
I don't think there's anything new released.
Cool.
I mean, there was a bunch of Tamiya's and stuff, but that's not really our thing.
Okay. All right. Well, then we have questions. Start with, did we post on Instagram today?
I did.
Ooh, we did. Well, there's only one question on that one, so I will ask it first. So from Spencer, Sack the Ripper, he said, in a perfect world, how often would you get to go play with RCs? I would love to go every weekend or at least every other weekend. Unfortunately, it's once a month at best, be it bad weather or other time commitments in the way.
I mean, there was a time when I was hitting an event at least once a month, and being that most of those events were something you had to travel to at least an hour to 2 hours away to go to, it was kind of rough to hit that many events. I mean, over the years, I've slowed way down when it comes to hitting events. Yeah. So I think really that answer comes down to your geographical location. I mean, if you're, somewhere like some of our buddies that are in the Sacramento area where they have access to places they can have an event, every weekend if they wanted to. Yeah, you're going to be able to hit way more events. Now you live somewhere where you got to travel. Yeah, that's going to sacrifice a little bit. So, I mean, I'm happy if I can get out at least every other month, if not, once every 2 to 3 months. Like, I'm happy, if I can get out. But it is hard. It's hard to do that, especially where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I went from like trying to go once a week a couple of years ago to now it's probably about once a month. I mean, for right now, for any kind of driving for me lately, like today was kind of my timeout.
My ideal is like once a month. Yeah. If I could do that, that would be awesome. I generally don't. I'm usually about half a year in between, but
I'd go more, but man, it was like $75 to put a third of a tank of gas in my truck
there's
today.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, got 75 cash. I'll go throw some gas in the truck, cruise up to Anacortes. And I'm like, just looking like, man, that barely put a dent in anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if it wasn't for that, I would probably be out more. But, yeah, once a month, I think.
All right. Moving over to Facebook. Let's see. So Chris Trudeau, he said, have you ever crawled with a sub 12-inch wheelbase crawler before this, referring to the Bushido? And what was your experience? As element drivers, obviously you got early release, but what was initial reaction upon opening the box?
I actually have a picture of it still sitting on like the little cardboard wheel holder thingy out of the box. So I guess I should post that on our thread that we'll start for the episode when it gets announced. No, we've had quite a few short wheelbase rigs. I had a 10.5-inch wheelbase, original SCX 10 hard body D90, Land Rover. It was fun, but the body, obviously, like it had a metal roof rack and exo cage and like all this like scale stuff all over it. So it was a pig. I mean, it didn't crawl for shit, but it looked really cool. That I think was my first short wheelbase experience. The second would have been, and I guess this is kind of story time, but Brad from Associated and Element, Associated's first like foray into scale RC was with a existing Thunder Tiger platform. and Associated brought it over, and it was called the CR12. And I had one of those, and I lengthened it to, I think it was 10 and a quarter or 10 and a half. I forget what the, it used the Proline Sumo body, which was Proline's unlicensed Suzuki Samurai. And I think it was like 10 and a half or something too. It wasn't very long. And that thing kicked ass, man. Like, it had a Lexan interior in it. I cut like the bed and everything out, so it was like open top. Had a sunroof that I had cut open and stuff. And it had like Lexan interior, driver figure. I made metal bumpers for it, like welded up a set of bumpers, because the CR12 uses square posts, and they're really, really small. So, I mean, there's basically like no aftermarket support whatsoever for the CR12 platform. So I just had to fabricate some bumpers and stuff. I didn't do sliders on it. I did 4.19 BFGs, the KM3s, and then just a set of black RC 4-wheel drive steel wagon wheels. You know, it was kind of like I don't know, like just weekend wheeler looking thing. So that was a really, really fun truck, and that thing actually performed pretty incredible. So that was like, I drove that obviously way more than I did that D90 thing, but I spent a lot of time with that thing. And then I think after we did that, either right before or right after, I forget, but we had done your Bronco that you have, Trav, and that's 11.82, I believe, because it's like deadbolt wheelbase. I forget. Oh, it was short wheelbase anyways. So, yeah, so we did yours, and that thing is just a monster. Like, it annihilates everything. I mean, the fact that it's, you know, not 12.3 doesn't hurt that truck in the least. It just works really, really well. So no, I like short wheelbase. I'm a huge fan of how tight they can turn, you know, especially if you have something with overdrive, like what we do with the Element platform, like that little Bushido. Like, I mean, there was a video that I posted today, but you can watch like the inside rear tire, like the whole truck almost like pivots on that and pulls itself around and turns coming out of this line. So that's one of my favorite things about short wheelbase rigs. I mean, yeah, you give up, you know, some of your ability to climb vertical stuff or things that are kind of peaked, you know, like, you just, it especially with something like this in a short top heavy body with like molded plastic and stuff. I mean, that's going to hold it back climbing vertically, obviously. But no, I mean, this thing, that wasn't really too much of an issue with it, though. I mean, I didn't really notice the body much at all. And like the fact that I had full width bumpers and stuff, that didn't really affect anything either. I mean, it just, I don't know. It did great. I mean, there was a couple steep things that it wouldn't do, but I also kind of just was like, you know, you're not upset about it. You're like, oh yeah, you know, that's probably outside its capability range with it being so short, but you know, enjoy it for what it is, and things awesome. When I opened the box, I was kind of like, it took me a minute because, you know, it is like a fairly large body because they had to get it in proportion to 11.8. And like, I understand all the decisions that they made going with this, because everything is so performance driven right now in the hobby that I could see somebody, let's say that this thing was scaled down to where it looked, you know, relative to like the Night Runner or something, like the Tacoma. That would have been a really hard sell to people with tiny tires and short wheelbase, because everybody's going to bitch about its lack of capability, you know? And so going with it being larger and using the 4.65 tires, I think is a really good move too, because if you're using that tire, you have a whole lot of options out there versus anything for, you know, 1.7s or 1.55s. Like 1.9s, you have tons and tons and tons of stuff to choose from, especially like swampers and stuff that would look kind of like period correct on like a little, you know, early 90s Suzuki Samurai. So, you know, and it's going to be more capable than a tiny tire rig if this thing was scaled down. So like I get why they did it the way they did.
Well, they also couldn't do it any smaller without cutting the frame rails.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's a whole other, that's different tooling and production, and that, that's like you're talking, you're getting into like releasing a new model / like platform territory with going with something like that. But no, I mean, the size of it, I think it will cater to new people in the hobby, people that are samurai fans, and it's just because you're going to have a lot of stuff that's going to not just fit the platform, but it's also, your tire and wheel choices are really, really good versus, going tiny. So no, I mean, that was really my initial reaction was like, oh, it's bigger than I thought, but it all makes sense, and it's, we would have done the same thing. So
yeah. Cool. Let's see. Brandon Geiger said, howdy fellas. So Adam, how about the new Axial Proline collab? I think it's a nice rig, but I'm really digging that sweet coin. Forgot it comes with
oh yeah coin. Forgot about that too.
I missed that.
Didn't they do that with the SCX 24 Betty also? Didn't it come with something like that?
Yes, it came with a token or something like that.
Something along those lines.
So I know that this is going to be one of those things that everybody always asks me because they know I'm a big Chevy fan. Ironically, I'm not a big step side fan. So I know that's like I said, I'm happy to see that it wasn't a Jeep, nothing against Jeep. It's just, that's like the number one go-to, body that somebody releases, which there's reasons to it. So I'm not knocking that, but I mean, yeah, it's nice to see them use something like a Chevy. I just think it kind of fell short in a couple areas. The fact that, it's on portals that, I think it would have went a lot farther, scale wise and just like the overall look and appearance if they would have went with straight axles, and maybe go with a tire that's more scale, not, so, performance driven, but, they obviously have their reasons for doing that. So that's my overall take on it. I'm never not happy that something else comes out because, it brings, I'm trying to think attention to the hobby.
Your heart.
No, it brings attention to the hobby, because just because I may not be the biggest fan, there could be somebody that's like, hey, I love the fact that it's a step side. I actually had a buddy in high school who was obsessed with step sides. He would not buy a truck if it was not a step side.
I was just about to say, I was like, is anybody a fan of step sides?
There are some people that are a fan of step sides, but
you freaking weirdos.
So, I mean, but hey, like I said, to each his own. There are some cool things about it. And if you are one of those, collectors, and that whole, rareness, appeals to you, this is definitely for you then. I mean, it comes with, I forget if the chassis is numbered or if it's just the motor plate.
Oh, I did not look at that.
I forget. It's one of the two, if not both, has their number on it, and you get the commemorative coin and all that stuff. But
and the commemorative 4.19 Hyraxes that come on all the limited edition cars.
There's that too.
They're all numbered.
I've just never been a big fan of Hyrax tires to begin with. I mean, I get it, their performance, but being that I'm more of a scale person, it's just never really something that's ever caught my eye. So.
No, you're right.
But
I get it. I was looking for that motor plate. Oh, no, it's not on here. Come on. No, it does not look like the chassis is, but I mean, still, at least, motor plate and everything is. Is it one of those rigs where you would feel weird doing anything to it, though? Is it that level of like special? I don't know if it is.
Not when there's 2,000 of them. I mean,
right.
maybe
there's enough of them still.
25 of the first horrible decision, but this one's different. I mean, I don't know. If I was like diehard Chevy guy and didn't care if it was a step side and just had to have it, whatever, I'd probably buy it, put some correct tires on it and stick it on a shelf. I mean,
sure.
It looks nice. I mean, they did a nice job on it. It's better than any of the other Proline Chevy bodies that they've come out with. Square bodies, I should say. It looks better. The lines are sharper. Just everything about it looks better. Yeah. Actually, it looks like it was done at Axial's plant versus Proline, and I'm sure it was. I mean, that Proline probably didn't do those. I would think that the manufacturing plant is the ones that did it, because everything looks too good and too crisp. Like if you look at that teaser they had today, like the blob for like the Silverado badge and stuff that's on the side of the fender, like that's like kind of typically how Proline bodies look versus the Axial ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I know. I think it's cool release.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeremy Kim, I don't know if you guys have answered this, but what do you guys look for in a crawling spot or for drifting?
No people around. Somewhere isolated and secluded.
Yeah, we haven't get to be that picky, but it's like literally just anywhere you can take a picture of the thing and it looks relatively in its environment.
I have to agree with
one key.
Good.
No, I was just saying that's like my one key criteria. Otherwise, I like it could be flat for miles as long as it's rocks or something, or like whatever it is. Like it doesn't have to be anywhere where it's like, oh man, the crawling kind of looks like, if I can just take a picture of it, that's fine.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I like it to be, as something realistic scale as possible, something you could believe. Like, it's always funny when you get these, pictures and it's like the most scale, pickup truck or Jeep that looks like it was parked at the mall. And like it would never be on anything. And the thing's like climbing up some like vertical V crack. And you're just like, okay, that's just not going to happen. But I mean, typically what I look for is something that looks like, it's doable. Like, if it's like a kind of like a scale trail looking thing where there's some, obstacles that aren't too gnarly, but like, enough to give you some excitement.
Can it just be in its element, right? Like that's just
exactly.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
kind of like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying also a little bit of what Jay said, just if there's a lot of people there, you're not going to get that scale picture because you're going to have too many people, around.
One of the reasons why I didn't go to Cap Sani today, which is like the other spot that I frequent a lot, is because it's super touristy. I mean, this place was today too. It was just uncharacteristically busy for it being fall, which was kind of strange. But yeah, like if I would have gone to Cap Sani to drive the Bushido and get pictures and stuff for social today, for one, like it's all just straight up rock crawling, like very little shrubbery. There's a lot of dead grass there, a lot of rock, very few trees. So, I mean, it wasn't like the right environment for what I wanted to do today. And Erie's like scenic, really green, lots of trees. There's different mounds of rock and stuff that are high enough to where you can get some fairly scale realistic pictures, because if you're up super high and everything is just way out stretched towards the horizon, it'll look more scale, because you have that depth and you can't really judge the depth of something like that by looking at a picture. And so, I mean, that's something I look at, and that influenced my decision today to, where I wanted to go. But, I mean, like you guys are saying, like, as long as it's like kind of somewhat scale appropriate for what you're driving, like that's fine. I mean, there's sometimes I'll go somewhere and just drive for the heck of it, cause it's good terrain and stuff. But if you're shooting pictures and things, like something like the Bushido, like it's a wheeler. Like, it's not like a straight up rock crawler. It's a wheeler. So I wanted to have like dirt on the tires and, look like I was out wheeling it for a day. So it's like both of you guys said, just kind of an appropriate place for the intended use of whatever it is that you're driving.
Yeah. Joe Engstrom says, I'm rebuilding a stripped Wraith spawn. I need a transmission and drive shafts to start. Wondering if the Wraith 1.9 transmission is the same as the spawn transmission, and will the SCX10 tranny work? And then what aftermarket should I go with for a better better transmission and shafts? Or what aftermarket should I go with for a better transmission or shafts? If so, which, on a budget, all that stuff. He has a Wraith spawn that he's rebuilding.
What I would do is get the Element Stealth X transmission, build it with the 11.6%, whatever it is, overdrive. And then since your rig has AR-60s underneath it, you can overdrive the front, underdrive the rear. I mean, like, there's a lot of different options for gearing to make that thing just an absolute monster if you go with the Element Trans.
Will that'll bolt out? Will that bolt out the spawn, though?
Yeah, it'll bolt right in. It's still the same 3-gear,
But there's one problem with that. The Wraith transmission has a longer output, so it clears the belly, the skid plate.
Yeah, that's the Elements that way too, because the output gears are double stacked, and so it's from like pin to pin on the output shafts of the trans. It should be just exactly like the Wraith one that has the extended shaft on it.
Okay, I had no clue, because I was going to say, because that's the one.
Yeah, like a standard 3-gear, like he's talking about for the Wraith 1.9, he's probably going to, unless he's got the thing like pretty low, like he's going to run into what you're talking about with the shafts hitting the trans, if it's not, the lengthened one. But the Element one, like I said, is double stacked, so it should be almost a direct fit and just get whatever, incision or MIP shafts. The MIPs are CVDs still, I believe. And
yes,
you got to Loctite them. And if it was me, like if I had to pick a drive shaft right now for something, I would either get SSD or Incision, because both of theirs are just a regular U-joint and both are just bomb proof. I've never had an SSD driveline break. So that's my recommendation for your rig.
Well, my recommendation is really whatever. I mean, I forget. Travis, did you say there was a budget or no budget?
Budget if aftermarket is necessary.
Okay.
Wants a bolt in, not looking to mod, cut, etc. Just bolt on and go.
Yeah, no. The only reason I'm asking is because, which they still do hold, true. But I mean, if you want to spend the money, Super Shafty used that was their like advertisement. It's bomb proof. Like, you could throw it in there and the thing will never, fail. It'll never be destroyed. Like, you can't. It's like, it is bomb proof is what they always say. But you're paying top dollar for all their stuff. So, I mean, I've always had just good luck with, if you already have the stock transmission and you're just trying to upgrade it a little bit, Robinson Racing makes some hardened steel gears, and you can slap those in and be done. Slap and tickle.
Them. Just slap them on in there.
Yeah. I mean, he did just say on a budget, and nothing against your question. I love getting questions like this, but also I hate it when people say just on a budget. Like, your budget could be $3,000. I have no idea what your budget is.
That's the other point too. But I mean, what's sad also is the fact that do these companies still make, which is like what I'm going to look up right now. Do they can you still get some of these parts?
Right.
Like, because I'm saying, okay, so used to be able to get, like I said, Robinson Racing made hardened Wraith gears for their transmission with the longer output. Is that something you can still get?
Yeah, hard to say. If not, I'm sure Racing or somebody probably has one, or Hot Racing. Like, I've had good luck with both, like, racing and hot racing stuff. Like, their metal stuff really isn't bad.
I feel like the gear manufacturers in particular, not to tangent, but I feel like the gear manufacturers in particular seem to have the longest life cycles on their stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to what I was. So the hot racing is back ordered. The axial wraith steel gear from hot racing is normally 23, but it's back ordered. They do have the incision wraith transmission outputs. Those are available.
Holy hell.
You can get the hot racing 3-gear hardened steel those are back ordered, but all the incision stuff is not back ordered, and they have the steel transmission gear set. So I mean, if you spend if you're trying to just reuse what you got, but upgrade also what you have, for $31 you can get your 3-gear steel transmission gears, and then another $28 for the output shafts, and you should be good to go. I remember back in the day when you used to be able to get used to hop on like eBay and you could find a whole Wraith transmission from hot racing for like $50.
That'd be a good deal, going that route.
But I don't know if they still do that anymore. I mean, I'm doing live without a net, as my boss would say.
All right. Justin Gebhardt, couple things. I like the new Bushido, but I feel like it's a little out of proportion. I think they should have made it smaller with 155s, but that's just me. I really like my Ecto. I'm always tinkering, and I was wondering how different it would perform with links versus trailing arms. I know if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but I get bored, and I end up tearing it down just to rebuild it.
Links are going to outperform trailing arms anytime. I mean, unless unless somebody's just a ridiculously stupid good driver. But I mean, just trailing arms aren't a performance crawling item. They're just not. No one ever said they were. The Ecto, just because it has an open wheel design body and it happens to look like the Creep or the Power Wagon, that doesn't mean it's a crawler, and it doesn't mean it's a comp truck. It is a mail truck. So yeah, going to links, it's going to be much, much more better.
Yeah.
So
I remember him in particular. We talked about this was a blog post I always wanted to do.
Yeah, he laid down the front shocks.
He laid down the front shocks, which I recommend against when you do that with the trailing arms.
I remember when we went through all that with him. It was standing up the front end.
Well, it's so. I mean, the reason why it's the same thing. Like, it's just different application. Like, you wouldn't really use at the very least, if you're going to use them in the same environments, between links and trailing arms, you're not going to use them in the same way. So if you want to approach it as like conventional crawler, and I understand for like him, he got his to work like in a way that he's very happy with, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like capability wise, like that's why links are going to be a lot better. It's just more conventional geometry for the application. It's why all of the EPX development we did was solely for use with links, because it just doesn't, the same things do not happen in the same ways with trailing arms. And that's why we never tried to get it to work otherwise. So it's just one of those things. I think, if you haven't done that yet, worthwhile. That being said, maybe an avenue for another build. It's going to be less about what your Ecto is. It's just going to be more about just what your crawler is. I mean, you could very well do the same thing with a different chassis, and just throw links on it. You'll get the same answer either way.
If he's going to do links
and all that,
if he is going to do links on his Ecto, do the 12.8 wheelbase ones, don't do the 12.3. Go with the extra length, because that's like the one thing that the Ecto really has going for it when it does come to crawling is its wheelbase.
Yeah.
If it was shorter and had trailing arms, Jesus, dude, like that thing would stand the front end up off of everything. So you're going to be kind of getting the best of both worlds if you do 12.8 wheelbase with links. That would be my recommendation if you're just wanting to go straight performance. If you want to crawl some stuff and then jump something, 20 seconds later, then trailing arms it is.
You're going to find, just be aware that you are going to, if you do decide to do that, you will be going down quite the rabbit hole with tuning, just because all of the work you've done thus far with your current trailing arm setup to get it to work the way you want it in its current configuration will be nullified and not translate.
Yep. Yeah, so you'll have to get different shock towers for the rear. There's a bunch of stuff you're going to
just expect to start over. That being said, you wouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, no, you'd be stoked.
And it would be much easier. You won't
be sad about it.
Yeah, actually, one thing I used to clarify my comment, you will arrive to a happy place much easier than it initially, than the way you got there now.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say. And then obviously, for the Bushido proportions thing, Brad had actually responded to him in the replies about the frame rail, but that, kind of talking about that what we talked about before. What's the next question here? Murder Lions RC, the over under on over under for the bet, the 2 weeks until Jay has the thing slathered in hot pink. Referring to the Bushido.
Yep.
Ed Wenger says, with SOR no longer making complete vehicle wraps, there is a rather large void in the market, with custom paint jobs costing upwards of $500 or more, right, Adam? Do you think that another company will step up, or are the sticker kits the way of the future due to broader application, aka universal?
I did not pay $500 for a paint job.
I would like to know who quoted you. I obviously an exaggeration. I get what he's saying. So I'll answer this, since I field all of the customer interaction through the store. And that is, is there a void? No. So that was a controversial decision for us internally at the time when we decided, hey, you know what? No more wraps. And, we're going to move the way that we moved. Part of it was, timing kind of forced because of equipment. But the other thing was, there was a trend, once we pulled, we did the math and stuff. And, because if you think about it and you're comparing the paint jobs, because, the argument that you're making is that the wraps are more accessible than the paint jobs. I agree with that. However, wraps are really, really cool when you see somebody else's and you're like, oh, that's awesome. But then it very quickly snowballs into that, if you didn't want our exact offering as we had it on the store, and people, and this isn't, this is normal because people want to do something special for their rig, et cetera, people want to be able to do their thing, make it their own. Then it became very hard then to all of a sudden you're going to go in our store, you're going to find something, wrap wise or anybody's, and you're going to find the thing that just speaks to you, and it's just the way that it is, right? Because, and there's, usually a follow-up question of, can this, that, or whatever change, logos, stuff like that. So one thing we never did was, because people would have never paid it, is on the custom stuff we did do, we never charged the labor for it, which is a lot of what you would be doing for a paint job, because it's time. If we charged anything close to what is a conventionally reasonable labor price, every single, for any like special work, anything that we did for people, every single one of those people would have flaked.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
My hourly fee is $75 an hour.
Yeah.
That's what I charge.
Yeah. Nobody would have done it.
No.
Thus, we didn't offer it because it wasn't worth our time, because we knew that. And then when we killed wraps almost a year ago now, actually.
Yeah.
And I can count on one hand how many people have asked me about it.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
one of our biggest sellers was the Ivan Stewart livery as far as wraps and stuff goes. And I think we've sold way more Ivan Universal kits than we ever did regular wraps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's one of our best sellers.
Yeah. So, and that's what we did with the Universal stuff. It just makes it easier to like be more creative as an end user.
Yeah. You've got Freaky Skins. He still makes really good wraps and stuff. Part of the reason people don't jump on wraps right away is they're difficult to put on.
That too.
It's incredibly time consuming to make the templates for the bodies. And, for whatever reason, nobody's ever happy. Either they're upset because there's gaps between the pieces that stick on, or they're upset because they're overlapping and they have to trim it. And it's like, you kind of have to make a judgment call as a manufacturer. Like, okay, we're going to give you too much material, so you have no gaps, and there's going to be some trimming involved when you put it on. And that was the direction we went. And, there's always somebody's going to prefer it their way or whatever. And that's just the way that we chose to do it. Freaky Skins, theirs are pretty darn tight from what I've seen. As far as I know, they're still doing wraps. There's that rogue guy on eBay that bootlegs everybody's logo with like all the Metal Militia stuff and everything. There's him making wraps. But really, I mean, back in the day, when Scale RC, 10 years ago or whatever, it was like a lot of Jeeps, and like a lot of honchos and stuff. And there was one manufacturer that you were making wraps for, basically. It was Axial. And then we had wraps for a couple Proline bodies because that's the other thing everybody would buy. But things have changed in the industry so much to where, like, I remember a lot of people were like asking for wraps for like the Trailfinder bodies and stuff. And we never offered wraps for hard bodies because I didn't think it looked very good. Well, we're at a point now where, RTR bodies have like mirrors and windshield wipers and all this stuff. A wrap just isn't conducive. Like, I look at the Bushido and I wouldn't make a wrap for it. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that. The Vanquish Phoenix, I wouldn't make a wrap for that either. I mean, it's just things have changed so much and the bodies are so much more detailed that, I mean, you look at my stuff and like, I don't even make wraps for my own stuff anymore. Like I have some cars that are paint with no stickers really, there's just, things have changed. There was a time where they were really big in RC, in the off-road racing community and stuff.
That also changed.
Yep, that changed as well, and everybody went to paint. Like it's a fickle business. If somebody wants to, charge headfirst into the market and start doing wraps again, go for it. But you'll be reevaluating your business strategy in 6 months.
Yeah, it was just cleanly. It was a bet that we made, and it's a bet that's paid off. And, but that being said, if, anybody.
Plus, we want to make parts. That's way more fun.
That is a lot more fun. But, if for whatever reason there's a feeling there is a void there, by all means, fill it. Yeah. Godspeed.
So if I can add anything to that,
no.
It would be that, the wraps are a quick, fast way to get a custom, design down that would, paint be twice as long to like achieve. I do got to say, your wraps held up really well, but over time, it's just the nature of the material. It's going to break down.
Yep.
And you're going to have corners.
Shrink. It'll do all kinds of stuff.
Yep. You'll have it. It'll lift up. It'll start shredding. If you're out somewhere where it's really hot, you'll even see a bubble sometimes. So it'll start like lifting. It's just, you got to kind of know what you're getting into when you go that route. I mean, I have no regrets for any of the rigs I have that have wraps on them. My Capra is like my number one most, complimented rig that I have, and it's a wrap.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still do wraps for panel rigs. You know, like that'll still be a thing that we do. Like I'm making you a Jeep wrap, but it's nothing we offer. I'm just making one for you. But yeah, I mean, they don't hold up quite the same over time.
Yeah, it's just the acquisition cost of trying to do wraps, and then also to like, if you're just buying it as we offer it on the store, then it's like you're kind of committing to that and hoping that that's exactly what speaks to you. So again, that's just where it came from. We did this and killed it much quicker in the racing world because the racing world was a lot more reactive. So, crawling, obviously everything has traditionally happened a little bit slower here. So, but yeah, anyways. Other than that, I don't see anything else.
If I could circle back.
Yes.
On the whole Wraith transmission thing, because I looked it up while we were talking. So as much as I'm usually against this for multiple reasons, I'll just say if budget is an issue and you're trying to get a full transmission, you can get what I'll say is it's a Chinese knockoff. It looks almost identical to a Vanquish transmission for $32, and it's coming from China.
There you
and
go.
that's a complete. It's got like that exoskeleton kind of cover where it's not a full cover, but it's enough to kind of keep stuff from hitting the spur gear, slipper, aluminum housing, gears already all in there, and it's the longer version, so it'll fit in an in a Wraith. There's that. Then there's actually this other one, which is really interesting because it looks like a straight up Chinese knockoff, but it says ships from the US. So it's kind of weird. It looks like a spitting image of the VP Hertz Dig. And you can get that whole entire transmission. It's called Complete Cutoff Transmission. $53. And it'll come with the Hertz style dig with the servo mount. You just got to get your own servo for it if you're going to use that. But yeah, I mean, there always is that option. The main reason why I just personally always kind of like say no is because these companies have spent a lot of money doing R&D to come out with something, and then it usually just gets copied, and then you end up going to the cheaper place, and it may hold up for a while, it may break right away, or it may hold up just as long. It's just, for me, it's like an ethical thing. It's like you just like totally are just sidestepping somebody who spent all the time R&Ding it to get something just because it's cheaper. So, but that's the options you do have.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
All right. Well, is there anything else we wanted to touch on before we go?
Yes, I would like Jay to let us know what he calls his what is it? Bushido? Pescudo?
I call it the Bushido.
Okay. I was hoping you would slip.
Nope. I was good.
This is the one thing he doesn't. This is where the resolve is found.
It's because I'm wild and unpredictable.
Yeah. Because it doesn't want to make me have to edit it.
That's part of it.
All right. Well, yeah. Otherwise, I think that is it. So thanks again for listening. See everybody next time.
See ya.